So I thought I would make a video where we look into the future and make some prediction about what is going to happen within the fantasy community, because I have some thoughts. And my predictions will include Brandon Sanderson, the Harry Potter franchise, and even TikTok. Some of these predictions are pure guesses, while some of these predictions have a bit more evidence to them. But first, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps me out. Now, let's get into it. The first one is a rather sad one, but I'm expecting that we will still be waiting for a Sanderson adaptation in 10 years. Do you believe that we're going to get a Sanderson adaptation someday? Yes, absolutely. Do I hope I'm wrong about this prediction? Yes, very much. However, there are two main reasons why I do not expect an adaptation to be out in 10 years time. Firstly, adaptations take a very long time, and as of now we still don't have any news confirming that anything is really happening around a possible Mistborn adaptation or Stormlight adaptation. Now, I know there have been some things been going on regarding the rights to the Cosmere, and I know Sanderson is working on a Mistborn script himself to try and speed up a possible adaptation. But for now, we're still waiting for that big breakout news as some studio is working intently on making this happen. Now, I'm sure some things are moving in the background, and the latest Kickstarter has probably increased the likelihood of getting an adaptation someday. But even if you knew that a studio had finished a script and had specific plans, getting funding, finding actors, and everything takes a very long time. I mean, The Wheel of Time has been one of the most popular series in the past 30 years, but we still had to wait almost 30 years before we got an adaptation. Secondly, it seems like Sanderson is willing to wait for the right studio to come along. He doesn't want an adaptation to be done half well. It seems that Sanderson wants the adaptation to be done really well, so he's probably okay with waiting maybe 5 or 10 years to make that dream happen. That being said, I do still believe we will get an adaptation, we just have to wait a while. So that is my first prediction. My second prediction is that Grimdark is going to start losing its popularity in the next 10 years. Now, I haven't seen many people talk about this, but I very much feel like Grimdark is at its height, or has just gone past it, and is now going to slowly start to decline in popularity. Now, why am I saying this? Firstly, Grimdark has been all the rage for the past 10 or 15 years now, and trends, they come and go. I definitely believe that we're still going to see morally grey characters be prevalent in fantasy, and we will still see Grimdark's books being published. I just don't think we will see as many being published as it has been in the past 10 or 15 years. It just seems that the genre has been done so much, and readers will probably turn to other subgenres more in the coming years. This prediction may or may not come true depending on the definition we use about Grimdark, but I'm thinking mainly about books such as the Broken Empire trilogy and the First Love books. But it'll be really interesting to hear what you guys think about the future of Grimdark. Is Grimdark going to stay strong for the next 10 years, or are we going to see a decline in the next decade? Let me know your thoughts. My third prediction is a bit of a weird one, but I believe that the Harry Potter franchise is still not going to be fully dead in 10 years time. Yes, I know, Harry Potter is going to haunt us for the rest of our days. Firstly, the franchise is still incredibly valuable and the books are still very popular. Moreover, it just doesn't seem like Warner Bros. Want this franchise to die because they've earned so much money from it in the past. I have serious doubts that the franchise will ever reach those heights again as when I was a kid, but I don't think it's going to decline so much that it'll be completely dead. I can definitely see myself being wrong in this one, but we will see if we're still alive in 10 years time. Fourthly, this is a very niche prediction, but I'm expecting small press special editions to be much more popular in 10 years time. Now, you might be wondering what I'm talking about. Let me explain. A small press is often a company that specializes in making some special books such as leather-bound or letterpressed books, and these books will often be in very high quality, be very limited, and also be very expensive. I mean £2,300 expensive. Now, why do I think that these books are going to be even more common in the future? Well, only for the reason that we have seen a renaissance in special editions in the past years, with so many companies making new special editions every month, and the market is growing rapidly. We will now even often have 3 to 5 special editions of the same book. I'm looking at you, Empire of the Vampire. And people genuinely seem to be willing to invest a lot of money in special editions of their favorite books. So people are not only willing to spend more money to get a fancy special editions, but these special editions can also sometimes be good investments. A lot of special editions will go up in value, which is one of the reasons why people are willing to spend maybe 20 or 30 pounds on a book. Yes, you pay more for that special edition, but if you decide to unhaul the book later on, then usually you can get your money back and sometimes you can actually earn a profit. Now, I'm expecting this market to continue to grow and we will see more and more special editions popping up everywhere. And we already see this happening actually. Brandon Sanderson has his own press, Dragonsteel Books, producing very exclusive editions of his books. And we've just seen Curious King team up with Joe Abercrombie and to make some extremely exclusive and beautiful editions of the Blade itself. As people become more and more okay with spending a bit extra on special editions, I think that more and more of these smaller press will actually start popping up. It's a bit like the rise of craft beers or indie games. When the market keeps growing, you start seeing more niche things popping up. So yeah, expect a future where 200-pound books are very common. Okay, I have a bit of a wild prediction, but I think that TikTok is radically gonna change books in one specific way, and that is in book length. We've seen songs become shorter due to the rise of Spotify. Artists want their songs to be played more often, hence why they make their songs shorter. Now, why would publishing houses want to make books shorter? Well, it makes sense to make books shorter for two reasons. Firstly, if you have shorter books, then you can publish more books and then sell more books. I am looking at you, Jim Butcher. Okay, what I mean here is that it makes more sense financially to publish 3 books that are 300 pages each than for a publishing house to publish a chunky 900-page book. So there's definitely a financial incentive to make books shorter. But more importantly, it feels like our attention span is becoming worse and worse all the time. So I think editors will intentionally cut out more sections of the books to make the pacing faster of the story. I think a lot of people will start to struggle with very slow-paced books in the future, such as The Realms of the Elderlings or Daniel Abrams' books, simply because of the pace. Now, there's one author specifically who writes in a way that I believe will become the norm in the future, and that is John Gwynne. Gwynne's books are very fast-paced and have a lot of action, and you rarely get bored with them. I love all of his books, and one of the reasons why is the pacing. So, I'm predicting that books in the future will have fewer slow parts, and since there will be fewer of these slow moments, we will have shorter books. That being said, I'm not saying all books in the future are going to be extremely fast-paced and action-packed. I just think we're gonna see a slight increase in faster-paced books. Alright, I have one more prediction to go. I also predict that audiobooks are going to be more popular in the future and potentially reach the same heights as ebooks. Now, there's definitely a long way to go, since I recently found this article that states that ebooks sold 4 times as many books compared to audiobooks in 2020. But I just think that there's so much potential in audiobooks, such as being able to bring the story to life with either very talented narrators or sound effects. Consequently, I think people are increasingly going to struggle to sit down and read a book due to their busy lifestyles, and in those scenarios, audiobooks are perfect. So apparently the sales from audiobooks does generate just as much money as the sales from ebooks, but that is mostly because audiobooks are much more expensive than ebooks. Lastly, I think that AI voices are going to be so good in the future that you'll probably be able to get an incredible AI narration by just uploading an ebook to your favorite reading app, or just by taking a picture of a page, which means that basically every book in the world in the future can become a very good audiobook very easily. So those are my predictions. Do you think I'm right or wrong about these predictions? What do you think is going to happen in the fantasy genre in the next 10 years? And as always, thank you so much for watching, and a special thanks to my Patreons. I really, really appreciate it.